Kanye West wasn't supposed to be in Chicago that day. His schedule said LA studio, album wrap-up, final vocals, a meeting with a streaming giant. But the night before, something whispered in his spirit. Not a song, not a lyric, something deeper, a pull he couldn't ignore. So without making a sound, he canceled everything, packed a hoodie, boarded a jet, and flew home, not to headlines but to something waiting in the silence. It was cold. A gray, slushy morning in the South Side. The kind where even the pigeons seemed tired. Kanye, hands in pockets, hoodie pulled low, walked the streets alone. No security. No entourage. Just the hum of traffic and the crackle of salt beneath his Yeezy boots. He passed liquor stores with bars on the windows. Murals faded from the sun and rain. And the faces. Faces he once saw every day, now older, wearier. He wasn't here to be seen. He was here to see. That's when he noticed her. She was maybe in her early 30s. Small-framed. Pushing a weathered grocery cart stuffed not with food but with survival-like bags of clothes, a broken toy stroller, and a cracked mirror wrapped in a towel. One hand gripped the cart, and the other held tightly to a small boy no more than 5. They weren't walking. They were trudging. Every step looked like it cost energy she didn't have. Her lips moved. She was talking to her son, comforting him, distracting him from the hunger. Kanye slowed down. Watch. Something about the way she bent to tie the boy's shoelace, the tenderness, and the urgency cracked something in him. He crossed the street. "Ma'am," he called out gently. She turned, startled. For a second, her body stiffened, ready for confrontation, judgment, and maybe even danger. But then her eyes focused. She blinked. "You're Kanye West?" she asked, breathless. "Yeah," he said quietly. "I'm not trying to scare you. I saw you and wanted to ask if you're okay." Her name was Tasha. She didn't cry. She didn't break down. She simply gave a polite, practiced smile. "We're all right. Just heading to the community center. They sometimes help with food and stuff." Kanye nodded slowly. He looked at the boy. "What's his name?" "Micah." Kanye squatted to Micah's level. "Hi, Micah. I like your hat." The boy barely smiled. But he nodded. Tasha hesitated. "We're not looking for money, sir. I wasn't trying to draw attention." Kanye stood. "You're not. But I want to help." He reached for his phone and stepped aside. Spoke into it calmly. 10 minutes later, a matte black SUV pulled up. The driver opened the door. "I got you a hotel suite nearby. Swarm. Has beds. Showers. Hot meals. You can breathe for a bit," Kanye said. Tasha's eyes welled up. "Why are you doing this?" Kanye looked her in the eyes. "Because someone saw me once when I was drowning. Now it's my turn." They got in the SUV. Kanye rode with them. Talked to Micah about Spider-Man. Listened as Tasha, carefully at first, told fragments of her story. 2 years ago, she fled an abusive marriage. Had no family to turn to. She bounced between couches and shelters, sleeping on buses with her kids to stay warm. She had once studied early childhood education. Loved writing poetry. Dreamed of publishing a children's book. But life had crushed those dreams under unpaid bills and survival. At the hotel, Kanye helped her carry the bags. The suite was large. 2 beds. Fresh towels. A kitchenette stocked with snacks. Micah ran to the bed and jumped into the pillows. "Mommy? It's soft," he yelled. Tasha covered her mouth. Tears slipped through. On the table, Kanye placed a white envelope. Inside was a prepaid card. $15,000. "Take your time," he said. "Get what you need. Clothes, food, breathing room." That night, she bathed Micah in a real tub. Wrapped him in a hotel robe. Fed him warm mac and cheese from room service. She sat by the window afterward, watching the street below, her mind spinning. For the first time in years, she felt like maybe, just maybe they could start again. The next morning, Kanye returned. He brought breakfast. No press. No camera crew. Just waffles, orange juice, and peace. They sat across from each other. Kanye asked, "If life gave you one more shot, what would you do?" Tasha hesitated. "I'd go back to school. Maybe write again. But it's too late." "No," Kanye said. "It's not." He made more calls. Connected her to a nonprofit that offered transitional housing and education support for women like her. He paid for her first 2 semesters of online classes. Enrolled Micah in a nearby preschool. Got Ariana, her 8-year-old daughter, into a safe after-school program. 2 weeks later, he took her to a quiet apartment complex. He handed her a key. 3 bedrooms, he said. Furnished. Rent paid for a year. Tasha stared at the key. Her hands trembled. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything, he replied. Just start again. That night, Tasha moved in. She set up her kids' beds. Found the energy to smile. Hung the cracked mirror, the only thing she'd carried with her everywhere, on a clean, white wall. Kanye didn't stop there. He hired a career coach to help her rebuild her resume. Sent a laptop and writing materials. Even introduced her to a publishing contact he knew. Weeks turned into months. Tasha published her first poem in a local Chicago paper. She got a job as a part-time library assistant. Her days were still hard, but now they had structure, purpose. And then one Sunday, Kanye invited her to his private Sunday service. He didn't tell anyone who she was. He just handed her a microphone. Tasha stood before a quiet crowd, trembling, and said, I was invisible. Not because I wanted to be, but because the world stopped looking. But one man, a stranger in a hoodie, saw me. And that's all it took to change everything. The crowd rose, clapping, crying. Later, Kanye hugged her, whispered, you didn't need saving. You just needed space to rise. Her story leaked online weeks later, not by Kanye, but by someone at the nonprofit who had witnessed the entire journey. The caption read, sometimes the biggest miracles happen when no one's watching. The internet exploded. Not with gossip but with awe. Donations flooded into women's shelters. Emails poured in from women across the world saying, thank you for showing me I'm not alone. Tasha became a speaker, a mentor. Her poetry collection, The Quietest Hope, sold out its first printing. She now works full-time, helping other single mothers escape cycles of abuse and poverty. In an interview, she was asked, what did Kanye really give you? She smiled. He gave me my life back. Kanye never mentioned the story, never posted about it, never turned it into a campaign. But for those who know, who watched him walk those streets, who saw him kneel beside a woman and hand her a future, they'll tell you. That day in Chicago, Kanye West didn't drop an album. He dropped a miracle. In the months that followed, life began to change for Tasha in ways she couldn't have imagined just a year earlier. The apartment Kanye gave her became more than just a place to live. It became a place to heal. The once silent walls now echoed with laughter. Ariana taped drawings on the fridge. Micah began to sleep through the night without waking from nightmares. Tasha began lighting candles at dinner, even when it was just spaghetti and toast, because small moments deserved celebration now. She started journaling again. Not because she had time, but because her soul demanded it. On quiet nights, she'd sit near the window, scribbling poems while her kids slept. They weren't polished or planned. Just feelings, raw, real, and finally safe enough to be spoken. One afternoon, while cleaning out an old bag, she found a note she had written to herself the night she left her ex-husband. It was scrawled on the back of a store receipt. It said, if you're still alive tomorrow, keep going. She wept. Not because she was sad, but because she had made it to the next day. Meanwhile, Kanye continued checking in. Quietly. Discreetly. He never overstepped. He didn't hover or boast. Sometimes it was a call from someone on his team asking, do the kids need new winter coats? Sometimes it was a surprise delivery, a set of books, a tablet for Micah, a necklace for Tasha with the word worthy carved into it. He didn't do it for recognition. He did it because somewhere in the journey of fixing himself, he had learned that impact was louder than applause. One day, Kanye invited Tasha to walk with him through the neighborhood again. They stopped at a corner where a mural of Harriet Tubman stood tall. Kanye looked up at it, then said softly, you know, the world talks a lot about saving people. But I think what most people need isn't saving. They need someone who refuses to walk past them. Tasha nodded. You didn't walk past me. No, he said. And you didn't stop walking either. They stood there in silence, not awkward but full of meaning. Two lives from different planets, intersected by fate, walking now in the same direction. And when people ask her now, in podcasts, in workshops, in interviews, what would you say to Kanye if he were here right now? She always replies the same. He was never trying to be a hero. He was just trying to do the right thing. And that one thing gave me everything.